Give me just a moment to get the rest of the stuff set up. Okay. Oh, I really had to rush to get on here tonight. Let's see, today in Pokemon Go, I got 2 hundos. I caught a random hundo Panpour, and then, out of field research, I got a hundo Nickit. Currently, right now, in field research, one of the things you can get is power up a Pokemon 10 times, and it could give you either a Froakie or a Nickit. I don't know if it can give you anything else. From what I've seen, it's just those 2 so far. And you bet I want a hundo Froakie, but sadly, I got the hundo Nickit instead. Shame. Well, all I can do is keep trying and hope. And also, just before starting this, and I mean just before starting this in my Pokemon Go, I got a shiny Galarian Zigzagoon with pretty good IVs too. It was a 3-star. So I'm still using my friend's 3DS to shiny hunt for Dialga right now, as you can see. The shoulder buttons for my 3DS did indeed come in the mail. They came in the mail earlier today. Look at this. See? Here's a little baggie of it. It's right here. I got them. In fact, I ordered 2 sets just in case. Just in case my clumsy ass messes something up. These were about $15 each. Well, about $10 for the price, but then $5 for shipping. Wait, is that right? Whatever, I spent like about $30 for these. Since they came in today, they were at the doorstep when I got home from work. So I didn't have time to replace the shoulder buttons today. So I'm going to do this tomorrow, and hopefully next time we're back onto my 3DS. Which might be bad for you guys, because, you know, a nice big clean screen for you guys to watch. Also, just in case, let me double check, is audio being picked up? Yes, it is, good. But this is ultimately my friend's 3DS, and I don't want to add too much wear and tear on his system, you know? If I'm going to be pressing the same buttons over and over, adding wear and tear, then it should be on my system, since I'm doing this on my games for my own purpose. Doing this on his system right now is just a substitute, because mine literally cannot. Not until I replace the buttons. You know, since the last time, I haven't made any progress on my replay of Brilliant Diamond. Not gonna lie, since I started the beginning of it, I'm just not in the mood to play it anymore. But I will. I will. I kind of think I've decided that, well, since last time I mentioned I was going to basically replace Staraptor on my team for a Lumineon, of all things. I kind of think I should replace Garchomp instead. You might be thinking, what a horrible idea. Look at this lunatic replacing a Garchomp on his team for a Lumineon, of all things. Well, like I said before, nobody uses Lumineon. Lumineon is one of the most forgettable Pokemon. My question is why? Why does nobody use this? Why is it so forgettable? So, I kind of want to use one just to see. And also Garchomp, it being a pseudo, it levels up much slower than the rest of the team. So I have the rest of my team basically around the same level. Garchomp's like 5 levels behind. I don't know. But then again, a 2-stage evolution levels up faster than a 3-stage Evo. I don't know. Kind of thinking of taking Staraptor off of the sidelines and benching Garchomp instead. All this talk of Garchomp lately, huh? By the way, no shame in feedings here, so let me show again. I got them. There's the shoulder buttons. I will replace them tomorrow. Hopefully I don't mess something up. And I'm pretty sure I bought the right ones. Like, these aren't for 3DS XL. These are for regular 3DS. So, really hoping I bought the right ones. I'm pretty sure they are. Oh yeah, something else that I've done, at least for this room that I'm sitting in, is I put, if there's even space for you to see, I put this here. Okay, that's way too zoomed in. What this is a bottle of vitamins. Let's see, I have a bottle of Centrum vitamins here for men. Supports immune function, eye health, metabolism, and muscle function with an asterisk. Complete multivitamin and multi-mineral supplement. Let's see. I'm not even going to bother reading out all of the medical ingredients on here. Let's see. I see it has like vitamin A, vitamin E, C, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, B6, B12, vitamin D. There's that many vitamin Bs? So why do I have a bottle of vitamins here? Well, it's because I never take these. I never remember to. My dad buys vitamins for the whole family, but nobody takes them. And, well, he spent all the money to actually get these for us. I may as well take them. I never take them because I never remember to. It is behind so much stuff on the kitchen counter, I never remember we even have them. So I put it right here in this room where I always am. And I will, because of this, I will always see it in front of me and I will always remember to take one. At least take one a day, which I'm going to do right now. Taking vitamins is good. Anyone else just downs these vitamin pills without any water? I do that. I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I get too lazy to pour a cup of water, I just down it. See, I just downed it. You couldn't see, but I really just did. I didn't pour myself some water. I didn't do anything. I just swallowed it whole. Pause. The key is to moisten it up. Lube it up in your mouth before you swallow. Ahem. Yesterday was Machop Community Day Classic in Pokemon Go. I got a total of 11. I caught 8 shinies in my game, and then on my sister's phone, I caught 3. One of them was a 98 IV. Sweet. So much Machop stuff these past 2 days. Yesterday was Machop Community Day, and today was Gigantamax Machamp Raid Day. I didn't do any. Well, I tried, but just not enough people joined, so we weren't able to win. And I sure as hell wasn't about to use a remote raid pass on one of these, because I just don't care. Well, today was a pretty slow day at work, sadly to say. It's really sad to say because today's a weekend day. Today's Sunday. Normally weekends are more busy for us. Weekdays, kids are at school, parents aren't going to take their kids out shopping on school days. So, weekends, kids are out of school, parents will take their kids out shopping. So normally weekends are more busy than weekdays. But these days, weekends are actually quite slow, which is very sad. Is there something on the screen? So yeah, it's pretty sad. Weekends are kind of like the big go-to. Like the big 2 days for us to fall back on as a business. But even these days, weekends are pretty slow, and that's a really bad sign. To make matters worse, today at work there was a leak. Not like a gas leak, I mean like a water leak. The ceiling was dripping water. I don't know what happened. Maybe today was raining, maybe that's why. But, it rained lots of times in the past, and this didn't happen. The thing is, though, the mall manager is a pain in the ass. Previously, like, our store has dealt with a ton of leaks before, coming from above. We try our best to avoid any water damage. Nobody wants that. So we put up boards on top to prevent any leaks in the future from hitting the actual store below. But the manager's just like, fire regulations, we can't have that because if there's a fire, the sprinklers will go off and then the boards will prevent the water from hitting the fire. So we have to remove the boards. But today, there was yet another leak, and it's like, you said to remove the boards. You said that, and now look at it. There's another leak and water's dripping down on us again. Now what? You said yourself to remove the boards, and now look. Now what you gonna do? You pay for the damages this time. Wasn't there something I was supposed to talk about before I talk about the 3 shows I have in mind for today? So earlier tonight was Dead City, I believe episode 4 of season 2. Funny enough, during the commercial breaks, there was an ad for, I believe, I don't know if it's an AMC Plus movie or an Apple TV movie. I think it's AMC Plus. It stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Jack Quaid. So we're seeing Negan and Huey together once again. Now, I haven't seen The Boys season 4 just yet. I don't know who Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays in that season, but I can't wait. I can't wait. Ugh, what was I gonna talk about? So, you guys want to hear about that friend of mine who ain't showing up a lot these days because he's not only working but also simping these days? So he's missing all of my glorious discussions of From, because, you know, I have nothing but praise for that show. Nothing but praise at all. So I'm telling him, like, yo, I'm so glad I decided to give the season a shot. Because, you know, I heard season 3 was bad. I could have easily quit the whole show after hearing just one season was bad. I mean, who would do that, right? It's not like this friend who recommended the show From to me quit all of Arrow just because I told him season 4 wasn't that great of a season. He heard one season was bad in the entire show and he quit the whole show. Gee, I heard season 3 of From was bad, and you guys know my feelings on this show. By that logic, I should have quit the show even before watching season 2, when I heard about season 3. But yet, here I am. And you wonder why I think this guy's a huge douchebag? He was just like, nah, you don't actually like it. There's no gore. All the budget goes towards the last episode. And I'm just like, wrong. It took 3 seasons. What? It took 3 seasons for me to finally see snippets of gore with Kenny's mom. And then I told him the same thing that I discussed here. I told him, I asked in season 1, what happened to all the bodies young Victor saw? I told him, Victor said the boy in white told him to collect the items from them to bury instead, because Victor couldn't bury them all. I'm just like, okay, that still doesn't answer me. What happened to the bodies? You know, one thing I forgot to mention previously about From, did that ambulance just drive from the city into a snowy setting? Because they drove from Maine and then they randomly hit this town covered in snow. Those cars just drove across biomes. You want to hear something fun? So, this guy, the guy who loves From, the guy who suggested the show to me, forgot Jim's name. He forgot the character's name. He's just like Tabitha's husband. I can't remember his name. And I'm just like, man, now I know just how rotten your attention span has become. The brain rot these days, people. I am rather glad I was born when I was born and I grew up when I grew up, so that I would not grow up in this day and age with all this brain rot. I'm rather happy of that. I dodged a bullet. I do indeed feel bad for generations these days and generations to come. Anyways, we'll get back to the From discussion later on. Because right now... right now, we have a discussion for Dead City. Hold on. So once again, we have Dead City, The Boys, and From to discuss. Alright, up first we are going to be talking about Dead Dushiti. Season 2, I believe episode 4? It's getting hard to keep track, you know? Three shows, it's hard to keep track which number of episodes I'm watching. Alright, let's see. Dead City. How did this episode open? So, we see Bruegel once again, finally. We haven't seen him since the premiere episode for Season 2. Bruegel is petting a rat, and then he feeds said rat to something, but we don't find out just yet what. So, Negan, Croat, Dama, and the rest of the Barazzi show up to... I don't know where this landmark is in Manhattan, some sort of museum. Which is now... it is now Bruegel's home, after he won it as a prize during the last Gladiator match we saw in episode 1 against... oh shit, Christos, that's his name, the guy who got Negan'd. So Christos lost the entire art museum to Bruegel, and Bruegel completely redecorated. It's now mostly hollow. Negan even points out, you have a lot of mirrors in here. Well, that's to reflect and spread more of the natural sunlight that comes in. Because, you know, no electricity, no methane. This episode, we see Bruegel really wants his hands. Really wants to get his hands on some of that sweet, sweet methane. Like, he really wants some methane. Everyone wants some methane. New Babylon wants it. Bruegel wants it. Everyone wants to get their hands on that sweet, succulent methane. Well, Bruegel shows Dama around, as well as Negan and Croat. Croat this episode, I don't know what Croat's deal is with the Dama. Throughout the episode, he just seems so... he almost seems jealous that someone else is with the Dama, even though it's not that kind of relationship. I don't know what the Croat's deal is with the Dama. He seems upset that the Dama is with someone else. Maybe it's because he wishes that the Dama would run things differently, I guess. I don't know. Well, Bruegel really loves this big-ass expensive painting that I guess it's some sort of valuable painting in real life. Because of course it is. I don't know. It's no rabbit in the snowstorm. You know, later in the episode they showed a painting. Once again, I don't know what famous piece this is. It's a painting of a woman with her breasts out. And I'm just thinking, can they show this on TV? It's a painting, but still, can they actually show this? I mean, it took The Walking Dead more than 11 seasons. Wait, no. No, they finally started saying F-bombs in season 11. It took The Walking Dead more than 10 seasons to give us F-bombs. And absolutely not one point throughout all of The Walking Dead have we ever seen one titty out. So I'm thinking, they can give us F-bombs, but can they really show us that? Even if it is just a painting? Anyways, so yeah. over by Central Park, I guess it's Central Park, the people with New Babylon, first of all, they're discussing that Ginny had a gun in her bag. Maybe she's saving it for someone. I did hear a theory about that online, like Ginny is saving the gun to kill Negan. Later on in the episode, that was proven true. So, Herschel tells Pearlie that he saw Negan. Alright, Negan's alive. He must know where the methane is. Let us go, track down Negan, get the location of the methane from him, and then we seize operations of the methane. But they don't have a lot of time. They're expected to leave. Because they made a deal with this group. This group who loves cutting out hearts for some reason. In exchange for them seeking shelter here, they leave when the next opportunity for them to leave comes up. And they do not speak of them ever. So it's almost time for them to leave, but then Pearlie's like, give us a day. In that time, our people can pack everything up. So the lady in charge agrees. So Maggie, Herschel, and Pearlie Armstrong all go out to try to find Negan. Because the lady in charge of this group, her scouts already saw and knew that Negan and the rest of the Barazzi went to the museum. So they know where to find Negan. It's awfully plot convenient, but whatever. At least the plot's not rushed, like it was for Daryl Dixon Season 2. Well, along the way, the three of them, they reminisce on things that they miss from the old world. Armstrong misses breakfast sandwiches, which are elite. Maggie's just like, I miss jelly donuts. Maybe even a Kit Kat. It's kind of funny to hear Walking Dead characters talk about things that used to exist, but don't anymore. And Herschel is just sitting in between them, no idea what any of that stuff is. What's a breakfast sandwich? Well, he probably knows, since the Bricks has bread. Maybe they have livestock, they have chickens for eggs, so maybe he knows what breakfast sandwiches are. But he doesn't know how breakfast sandwiches are or were back then. Herschel clearly does not know what a Kit Kat is, or a jelly donut. You ever wonder, little side topic here, you ever wonder if something like this were to ever happen? Or just in the Walking Dead universe? You ever think, because I feel like the apocalypse will end one day, but not anytime soon. Maybe 1,000 years later in the Walking Dead universe, the walkers will be eradicated, and the living will have the world again. You ever think, like, all the stuff that was lost, do you think they will be discovered again? Like, do you think humanity will ever remember or reinvent what a jelly donut is? Do you think they'll ever rediscover what was on the periodic table? If they do you think they'll name it the same thing? Or do you think they'll give it a whole new name? Anyone ever thinks about that? So Maggie did tell this rather heartbreaking story. The last time she saw a candy bar, 3 years after the outbreak. It was her birthday. And he surprised her. Aww. Now we know something that happened between, I don't know, maybe season 3 and 4. No, wait. No, is that even right? Wait a second, now I'm thinking about it, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. After All Out War, it should have been around 2 years. But All Out War, Glenn already died. The timeline doesn't add up, never mind. But whatever. At some point, Glenn, it should have been Glenn, I don't know who the hell else, Glenn surprised Maggie with a candy bar. Oh, that's nice. That's heartbreaking, but that is so Glenn to do. We miss you, Glenn, every day. At least we get to hear your angelic voice, voicing Invincible. You know, fun fact on Invincible, it's actually Maggie who died, being War Woman. So, it flipped. Well, so our characters are staking out the museum, waiting for Negan to come out. Inside the museum, they're watching a gladiator fight against walkers. Now, during episode 1, I did question what the deal was with that walker, because that walker did not move the way normal walkers do. At first, I thought, okay, they answered it. They pour blood onto the walkers so that the other walker would be attracted. And then they start going at it, right? And then they just naturally try to move their head downwards to bite, and thus the blades on their chin stab the back of the head. Okay, I guess that could explain it. But then the end of the episode proved a theory correct of, you know, another theory that I saw online. Get to that when we get to that. So, Croat rightfully questions, why has your champion been able to win so many times in a row without losing, thus giving you more and more good stuff that has been betted during the match? So Croat observes, and he's just like, you cheater! You cheated! Your champion moves a lot faster, doesn't it? How did you do it? What did you inject with it? And then the Croat just lists out a bunch of chemicals or science stuff that I don't know. I don't know, would that actually work? I mean, this isn't Darrow Dixon where, shit, I forgot the name of the organization, but this isn't Madame Genet working on some sort of serum to amp up walkers, right? They don't have that at Manhattan. So would injecting a walker with just whatever chemicals Croat listed out, would that actually make them move faster? I don't know. Well, oh yeah, there was also that scene with the historian, Mr. Pierce, I forget his first name. He finally remembers where he recognizes the Dama from. He saw a bunch of old newspapers, and she saw the Dama was there. The Dama was a critic. She could either make or break entire franchises, all, like, make or break careers. And then there was a story where one person, she bit over disagreement. Man, I tell you, I was tense during this moment. Just like how I was tense with the Dama and Victor, the previous episode, where she killed the guy who plays the violin. I was thinking, like, would she just stab this guy out in the open? I don't know, she might. So I was tense. The Dama was clearly upset that she was recognized. Kind of like how Beta was upset he was recognized. For God's sake, Beta immediately killed that Whisperer. But luckily for Mr. Pierce, he still lives to see another day. Well, they were supposed to make a deal, make a union together, an alliance with Brugel's men, the Brazzi. However, Croat's outburst after Brugel's just like, we want a partnership, yes? How about we make another methane lab right here in the museum? Yes? Give us energy, yes? I don't know, I feel like Brugel was just a little too desperate for methane, like he was asking a little too hard for it. But obviously Croat's not having it. He's just like, no, methane is ours, not yours. We cannot just share, just like that. Well, tensions are high, but Negan proposes a bet, I guess. Your champion against something that we pick. If we win, you join our group without any strings attached or whatever. If you win, you get methane. Alright, so it's a match. Negan goes outside, gets the walker that he saw earlier in the episode inside the car, and then he also brings up, or also picks up a canister of oil. We'll see what that was for. Maggie, Armstrong, and Herschel sneak in, and they have a plan to separate Negan to try to get information out of him. So, someone, I assume Maggie... Wait, no, it couldn't have been Maggie, because she was... I don't know, one of them set fire to that prized painting of Bruegel's. So, they're all distracted. Negan hears the Whisperer whistle, so he gets drawn in, and Maggie, well... they have a chat. Maggie's just like, please give me information on the methane. Negan's just like, I can't give you information on the methane because I'm doing this for the people I'm protecting. Maggie's able to realize Negan's talking about Annie and Joshua. And then Negan just breaks character and just helps her anyway. He literally is just like, I can't. Even the smallest thing. I can't help you. And then 2 seconds later, he helps her. Alright. Negan also warns Maggie. Herschel. She got to him. He's working with them. You cannot trust your own son. Maggie doesn't even know who, because she's never seen the Dama before outside of Herschel's drawings. But before Negan is able to tell Maggie exactly who has control over her son, she has to leave because the rest of Bruegel's men show up. Well, the gladiator fight continues. So instead of smearing blood on the walkers, Negan uses that oil. So the other walker, Bruegel's champion, is not able to deduce that that is a walker or that is a meal thanks to the blood smell. But Negan's walker does. So Negan's walker goes on the attack. Well, Maggie's trying to escape, but the Croat has peripheral vision. So what does Negan do? Negan jumps into the ring to try to draw attention away from Maggie so Maggie can escape. As Maggie escapes, she finally sees the Dama for the first time and recognizes that's the woman on Herschel's drawing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was tense in this moment too. Negan inside the ring with two walkers? Yeah, I was tense. Even though Negan has plot armor, I was still tense. Negan is able to see that Bruegel's champion isn't so dead. So he allows Bruegel's walker to win. However, he whispers something into Bruegel's ear, and Bruegel's just like, even though we won, I think what we've really earned here is each other's trust. So I will join your alliance free of strings. Dom was impressed by Negan's aura. And so, yes, they get what they want and they leave. Maggie is starting to grow suspicious of her own son. That's it. There was also the scene earlier in the episode where Maggie and Armstrong were talking. Armstrong's just like, ever since I left Manhattan, the only thing I wanted to do was protect my daughters. I forgot he had daughters. We've never seen them, we've only heard him mention them. I completely forgot that he has daughters. Bruegel. Armstrong's just like, I wanted to leave with them, but where? Where could we go? And I'm just thinking, Maggie, why didn't you just mention the Commonwealth? There is no way, absolutely no way, that New Babylon does not know about the Commonwealth. I feel like Commonwealth is just so big, New Babylon doesn't stand a chance to take it over, so they just leave Commonwealth alone. But I'm just thinking, like, Maggie, why did you not just tell him about Commonwealth? Alright, maybe they don't know, right? Off chance New Babylon does not know about the Commonwealth. And Maggie didn't want to tell Armstrong because if he knew, then New Babylon will know, and then there will be a war between New Babylon and Commonwealth, so maybe that's why she didn't want to say. But I'm just thinking, there's no shot, absolutely no shot, that New Babylon does not know about the Commonwealth. Like, come on, the Commonwealth is huge. There's no shot that they don't know about the Commonwealth. Because if they did, there's no way they would leave it alone unless the Commonwealth was too big for them to fight. It's like if New Babylon knew about the CRM. They would not stand a chance. They would have just gotten chlorine gassed. Well, there was also a scene earlier with Ginny and the bitch. The New Babylon bitch, I forget her name, Navaraz something. I don't remember her name. What was her name again? Oh, right, Benjamin Pierce. That was his first name, Benjamin. Oh, what the hell was her name? The character I hate so much. Lucia Navarrese, sure, something like that. Narvaz. You know, I think it's Narvaz. Maggie pronounced it weird in the episode. Narvaz, I'll just call her that. There was a scene with Narvaz and Ginny where Narvaz is able to realize that Ginny has her gun. Ginny finally confirms the theory. She has the gun and came to Manhattan to kill the man who killed her father. But Narvaz is like, that man you're hunting, is his name Negan? So she knows Negan's alive. She knows that Armstrong lied about Negan being dead. So, ooh, we'll see where that leads. That's drama. We also saw this quick scene where Herschel and Dama meet, but we don't hear what they discussed. So that'll be something we learn later on. I really don't think it's the Dama who cut off Herschel's toe. I don't know if they're going in the direction like Dama somehow convinced Herschel to cut off his own toe for like intimidating Negan. I don't know. It's either that or the Croat cut off Herschel's toe. Like, I really cannot see it being the Dama who cut off Herschel's toe. But then again, we'll see. So, the final scene of the episode, we see Bruegel back in his room, and he's feeding rats once again to his living, breathing person who is his champion. So, the theory online was correct. Bruegel's walker champion is not a walker, it was a real living, breathing person disguised as a walker, and that's how he was cheating. That's how he was winning so much. And that's what Negan whispered into his ear. The fact that Negan knew that his walker's not dead, it's a living person, and that persuades Bruegel that, you know, in order for Negan to keep a secret, that persuades Bruegel to comply. But because the secret's now out, he has to kill his champion. Which, by the way, there was a quick little story in the episode of Bruegel having a bodyguard in the world before, and I think this is his bodyguard. So poor guy, he's been living like this for almost 20 years under Brugel's thumb. Because remember, Walking Dead timeline, as of the end of Dead City Season 2, it's been like 17, 18 years, so almost 20 years into the apocalypse. And then he once again looks out to the park. They're really teasing that bear. I can't wait to see that bear whenever it shows up. So yeah, Dead City, Season 2, Episode 4. Pretty good episode. Okay, let's change up the music. Okay, this is not the right song to be playing for this, but I want to play it. There's no ad, right? Good. This is not the song to be playing when discussing the boys. Alright, let's talk about the boys. You know, I saw a meme on Instagram. Of course on Instagram of all places. Where else would I have seen this? I saw a meme where the caption is The Boys fans explaining why the Deep is their favorite character. And the clip to accompany this is the out of context Moist Critical saying, I hate sexual assault as much as the next guy. Rape? Boo! Don't like it. But explaining why the Deep is their favorite character. Yep, that about fits. I feel like the top of my list of not likable characters in The Boys would be... Well, I don't like the Deep or A-Train. Both of those characters suck. Homelander, I like. You know, I like how unhinged he is. Ooh. But those two, no, those two just suck as characters. And in this episode, it seems like A-Train got a little taste of his own medicine, whether he realizes it or not. Alright, so The Boys Season 3, I believe Episode 5. The episode opens up with a little bit of a regime change at Vought. Now that Stan Edgar is no longer CEO, Ashley is made CEO of Vought. So now Ashley is CEO, also The Deep is put as head of the crime analytics department. We find out later in the episode that he fired almost everyone, only keeping those who did not have bad tweets about Homelander. We also saw in this episode that Soldier Boy hitched a ride back to America. I gotta say, he hitched a ride pretty smooth, pretty flawlessly. It was like no trouble at all for him to make it back to America. I gotta say, this was a pretty sad episode, a pretty tragic episode. So, Kimiko is now in the hospital because she wasn't healing at the end of the last episode. Frenchie, she goes to pay her a visit, but Nina's there, and Nina gives him a job to do. I forget what kind of leverage she has on Frenchie to make him comply. Nina gives Frenchie a hit job. Kill this guy and his daughter. Frenchie's just like, it's a kid. Yeah, you've had no problem killing them before. Get it done by the end of today. However, Frenchie does not go along with it. And I'm just kind of wondering why. Especially with what he found out after this scene, which is the fact that he went back to Kimiko, and Kimiko tried to crush something heavy, or rather just lift something heavy, but she can't. It seems like her powers are gone. Her powers to heal and super strength, it seems like they're gone. And Kimiko's really happy about it, because remember previously, a couple episodes ago, she hated her powers. She wished she never got them. She wished she doesn't have them. Now that Kimiko's powers seem like they're gone, Kimiko's ecstatic. And I'm now thinking, Frenchie, this is a really good time for you to do what Nina tells you to do. Because Nina was there in the hospital room. She knows that you are close with this woman who is vulnerable in a hospital bed. And you now know she cannot heal herself. She is vulnerable. She has no powers. Frenchie, why did you not do what Nina said? But for some reason, Frenchie did not do what Nina said. Instead, he stayed by Kimiko's side watching a movie. Alright, the man's made his choice. And then this was really weird. Kimiko started to speak for the first time, and I'm like, is this really the first time we're hearing her speak for real? We heard her laugh at the end of Season 2, and then beginning of Season 3, we heard her speak, but that was just her imagining in her own mind. She never actually spoken for real yet. So when she tried to speak, trying to tell Frenchie that she has rhythm, as if she was in Phineas and Ferb, I was thinking, is she speaking for the first time, finally? And then it broke out into this strange dance number that really did not fit the episode or the show. So, and then it cuts back to the two of them in the hospital bed. So it seems like, no, that was still in Kimiko's head. So, in reality, for real, we still have not heard Kimiko speak, ever. The closest we've gotten is her laughing. And then to my surprise, Kimiko goes in and kisses Frenchie. Frenchie is a little shocked by this. He's just like, I'm gonna go get some coffee. You want some coffee? I'm gonna go get us some coffee. And then he just quickly dashes out the room. While at the coffee machine, Frenchie smiles too, as if, yeah, I like her too. But then he gets got by Nina afterwards. Poor Kimiko. Frenchie left, didn't come back. now Kimiko's wondering, did he scare him off? Did she scare him off? You know, if this was like a season or two ago, I would have been thinking, alright, these two have such a close connection, they're probably gonna hook up. But then I remembered, wait a second, Frenchie's with his girlfriend, right? The girl of his we barely see, Sherry. But Sherry left. Frenchie is no longer with Sherry, so I guess it makes sense that now they start to grow feelings. Only for Nina to slide in and ruin it. So poor Kimiko is left to wonder, did she scare off Frenchie? So that's the Frenchie storyline with Kimiko in this episode. So Annie goes back to her apartment that she shares with Huey. And then, you know, she's able to realize, while Frenchie's trying to comfort her that she got her friend killed, in a way, she did. She got Supersonic killed by Homelander. She realizes, Huey, where's your cast? Isn't your arm broken? Huey, at least he sticks to his word. He's just like, alright, no more promises. I took some V. And also, that weapon, Soldier Boy, there is no weapon, but Soldier Boy's alive. And he's roaming free in Russia. Obviously, Annie's pissed that Huey would do something so reckless as taking temporary V. Huey, all he wants to do is protect and save Starlight. Save Annie. Because Annie, I think it's no surprise, Annie is much stronger than Huey. So she always has to save him. And you can't blame Huey for feeling small and powerless. So just for once, he wants to be there for her. He wants to be the one to save Annie instead. Can't really blame the guy, but can't really side with him either, taking temporary V. Well, Butcher and Maeve. Maeve brings Butcher more temporary V. So then they drink, and they talk, and then they fuck. Yeah, I saw that coming. Butcher and Maeve hooking up. Maeve is much shorter than Butcher. Much shorter than I expected her to be compared to him. I thought that would be a little bit closer in height. But yeah, they hook up. Pretty aggressive too. You know what I've noticed in shows, and I'm not saying I want to see it, I can see it easily anytime I want. Well, not at work, you know what I'm trying to say. So we see like a show like The Boys. We see tits and penises every now and then. However, we don't really see a lot of connecting. I mean, we see penises on The Boys. I think we have yet to see a vagina on screen. And, well, I can't be the only one who notices that watching adult shows like this, they give us as many F-bombs and drugs and, you know, sex scenes as they want. However, we never actually see any connecting. We never see any actual penetrating. Though then again, that's not what this is, you know? I can easily just look that up online. Anyways, besides the point. What else happened? Well, the big thing is that Soldier Boy is back in America and he just blows up a restaurant around, as well as I think 19 dead. Well, our group, the boys, are at it. Butcher, Huey, as well as MM, all are on the case. MM after bailing on being with his daughter. So they go and talk to, what was his name? The leader? Or no, the legend. They go and talk to the legend. I think turns out that he was once the head of Vought back when heroes used to be heroes, not these shills or not these fake role models that they are now. So the legend, he too used to be head of Vought. And it sounds to me like it was better when he was in charge. It was pretty funny. It was almost like the scene in the Thunderbolts trailer. I haven't seen the Thunderbolts yet, as of right now. It's like, you know, I clicked leave on porch. So when they show up to the legend's doorstep, or his front door, he's just like, leave it there. This ain't Grubhub, motherfucker. It was pretty funny, the fact that Huey did not know who he was. As if he was supposed to know. It's like, you really don't know who I am, huh? Anyways, they talk. And then the legend reveals that, yeah, Soldier Boy was here. He came for his super suit. And he's now on his way to find his lover, Crimson Countess. So we see Crimson Countess, and she's actually doing, like, an online session with Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen naked with a bottle of lotion and a box of tissues beside him. And then on the corner of the screen you see the logo for whatever service he's using. It's like soup porn something. Crimson Countess is just... No, wait. Crimson Countess is just like, I got your package in the mail. Just pulls out giant anal beads that she's heating up over the candle fire. And then you just see Seth Rogen just lubing his hands with lotion and just jacking it to her teasing herself with the anal beads. I could not help but laugh at this. I don't know, why hasn't anyone dubbed this over like a fan animation of Alan the Alien yet? Well, while Seth Rogen is jerking it, Crimson Countess actually gets ambushed and tackled down by our group, the boys. At first I thought it was Soldier Boy, but no, it's Butcher. They tie her up and try to get information out of her. Turns out Crimson Countess knew that Soldier Boy was being held by the Russians. She's begging like, please, let me go, he'll kill me. Nope, you're staying there, Lori. Wait, you're not Lori, you're Andrea, whoops. Nope, you're staying there, Andrea. Well, they leave and wait for Soldier Boy to show up. For some reason, Annie shows up, and turns out MM called her as backup. So then Huey and Annie walk to the side. They walk away to discuss this. We see later just how far they walked away. I'm just like, god damn, you just needed to walk away a couple feet to talk privately. You walked away like a whole mile. You walked really far away. Because later on, we see Soldier Boy show up. MM was actually roofied by Butcher. Because Butcher knew that MM would never go with his plan, given MM's hatred for Soldier Boy. So, Butcher offers a team-up between them. And he has a peace offering inside waiting for Soldier Boy, being Crimson Countess. So Soldier Boy goes in, confronts Crimson Countess. She reveals that not only her, but the rest of the Paybacks always hated Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy being tortured and poisoned all those years, the one hope he held onto was the fact that Crimson Countess would come save him. But she never did. He loved her too. And the betrayal. So, Soldier Boy lets off one of his chest blasts and completely blows up the little trailer that Crimson Countess was in, thus killing her. So we see the explosion in the distance, showing us just how far Annie and Huey walked. I'm just like, god damn, you walked like a football field distance. Why'd you walk that far? You were really far away from the explosion. Why'd you go that far just to talk in private? But whatever. They managed to run back there really fast, by the way. The moment the explosion finished, Butcher was carrying MM's limp body away to safety, and then they got back. It's like, you went really far, and then you came back really quickly. Turns out, Huey was part of the plan too. Huey wants so badly to be able to save Annie that he's willing to betray her trust and go with them, because Soldier Boy is the weapon that can kill Homelander. There is no weapon that killed Soldier Boy, thus making it strong enough to kill Homelander. Soldier Boy is the weapon to kill Homelander. You know, I was kind of surprised on how quick Crimson Countess lasted on the show. I thought she would be a little bit bigger in the show. I guess not. I think that's where the episode ends. However, there's still one storyline. The storyline with A-Train and Blue Hawk. That was his name. Last time I was like Blue something. His name is Blue Hawk. So A-Train finally got his meeting with Blue Hawk, and Blue Hawk is unapologetic whatsoever. He's just like, isn't it racist to call a person racist? So A-Train is accusing him of being racist because he is patrolling primarily black neighborhoods. Blue Hawk reluctantly agrees, alright, what do you want me to do to make amends? Make an apology? Fine. So, they go to this, I don't know, this place in the neighborhood where people meet up. Also, that Blue Hawk can make a public apology, with cameras rolling too. So, Blue Hawk very chalantly, very obviously pulls out a note, a paper with notes on it. Uncaring, it's like, not really happy to be there reading it. There's I feel like my recent actions may have came off as offensive, and I apologize. So, I'm sorry. Can we move on now? And then it just blows up. It escalates to where Blue Hawk just starts attacking the people for yelling at him for being a racist, and then, yeah, Blue Hawk just loses control, and A-Train's just like, stop! Now, I'm not saying that this is good. None of this is actually good. However, A-Train got a little taste of his own medicine, whether he liked it or not, whether he realized it or not. Remember in Season 1, where Huey wanted A-Train to apologize for killing Robin? A-Train's apology was basically like, hey, sorry I killed your girlfriend, man. Anyways, can I go yet? Well, now A-Train sees what it's like to be basically treated like that. To be given a half-cooked apology that has no remorse behind it. I don't think A-Train is gonna realize this feeling, and he's gonna go to Huey, be like, yo man, I sincerely apologize for killing Robin that day. I now know my flaws. I am truly sorry. I don't know. I highly doubt A-Train is gonna go 180, realize how that feels and then genuinely apologize to Huey. I don't see A-Train doing that, especially with that ego of his. Well, unless I'm forgetting something, I think that's it for this episode. I probably missed a couple of small details. Is it worth mentioning that Butcher and Huey did indeed take temporary V again in case they needed to use it against Soldier Boy? So, you know, tell me these guys are hooked on this without telling me these guys are hooked on this. They vowed it's emergencies only. I swear I'm not addicted to this. I can control myself when I use it, and here they go, using it all the time. I think that's it for the boys. I don't think there's anything else to mention. You know, it always throws me off when I hear Jensen Ackles speak. His voice is just so much deeper than I expect. Oh yeah, just a little side note. Throughout the season, they kept on referring to a character named Vicky, and I'm just like, who the fuck is Vicky? Oh, they're referencing Victoria Newman. They just call her Vicky. Probably should have made that a little more clear, you know? Because at least for me, whenever they said Vicky, I'm just like, who the hell are they talking about? Who is this Vicky character? And then I realized later on, oh, they're discussing Victoria Newman. Oh yeah, you want to hear? So I saw this theory earlier today. So if you look at all of the Avengers logos, like the Avengers logos for the movie, there's a circle on the A. Avengers, the first Avengers movie, the circle, well, it's a full circle. They won. Avengers Age of Ultron, the circle is full, they won. Avengers Infinity War, it's half a circle, they lost. Avengers Endgame, the circle is full, they won. And then you look at the logos for Avengers Doomsday, it's full, so the Avengers look like they will win, but Avengers Secret Wars, the logo has a half circle. So it seems like the Avengers will lose in Secret Wars. Interesting theory to keep in mind. Okay. Ugh. Man, how long is this gonna take? What happened to one per stream? I know, right? My luck ran out. I used it all up. In a couple minutes, you're gonna hear me rage about From. Really. Because this episode was infuriating to watch. Very much. Oh, this show was taking years off of my life. And you know, the worst part is, the guy who told me to watch this show, we don't even discuss it. So I'm just thinking, why am I even watching this show? You told me to watch this show so that you can discuss it with me, discuss theories, and yet you're not doing that. You and I aren't even discussing the damn show, so why am I even watching it anymore? His fucking brain rot led him to forget the main character's name, or one of the main character's name. I'm just like, are you kidding me, man? You told me to watch this show, and you forgot the character's name? Oh, you don't know how badly I want to slap him. Why am I seeing a short like this? I'm seeing a short on my recommended. Why is every teacher in Persona like this? And then the thumbnail for the short is just, she's hot. What? Webcomic? Excuse me? Persona 3 webcomic? What? Well, I look up one video on From, and already my YouTube feed is giving me spoilers for thumbnails. Well, who is the man in yellow from Season 3? Great. I think I heard about the man in yellow, but then I forgot. Well, now I'm reminded. Great. By the way, when is Squid Game Season 3 coming out? Isn't that soon? You heard me discuss Squid Game Season 2, and we should be like a couple months away from Season 3, right? Hold on. It says June 27th. Wasn't it going to be July? I forget. Oh no, it is June 27th. Great. Yeah, that's right. Squid Game Season 3. So, when I'm watching the garbage that will be Ironheart, at least I'll have Squid Game Season 3 to wash it down with. Give me a second. Oh. Apparently it's just the early game? Huh. By the way, did you guys hear they're thinking of a bunch of Squid Game spin-offs, like Squid Game America? I think I mentioned this long ago. But that'd be neat. See an American twist on these death games. What kind of American playground games could they do? Anyone remember? Obviously everyone knows Tag. What about Manhunt, Grounders? I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot. It's been like more than 10 years since the last time I played. Marco Polo? Oh, I guess so. Need to remind you folks that I was the guy who ended tag games. Everyone would go for me first because they knew I was the slowest runner. And because I could never catch anyone else, well, the game ended. Well, I should consider myself lucky they even let me join to play. Even though, whenever I did join to play, the game lasted very quickly. Alright, let's rage at From, because this episode... Why does this show... Why is this show the way it is? All I ask for is some consistency. All I ask for is some... Why? I don't know what the writers are smoking whenever they write an episode for this, but like... I'm making this episode sound to be like really bad. However, it's not like something stupid happened. It's just the characters, the way they act and think, the way they act and thinked in this episode. Okay, let me put on some music before I discuss this. Before I raise my blood pressure. Shiny hunting Dialga is becoming a pain for me once again. It's not the first time Dialga has been a problem for me to get shiny. May or may not see me rectify that in the future. Alright. How the hell did this episode start? Whatever, there's several storylines, so I'll just talk about them. So the biggest thing about this episode is they're doing a town meeting. A town meeting to discuss what happened. Because last episode, Tabitha returned in the back of an ambulance, and there was one new person, a cop, who accidentally shot and killed someone. The news has spread that Tabitha not only escaped, but she's also back. So they're having a town meeting to hear about that. Tabitha's not too sure if she should join. Jade shows up trying to convince them about his idea with the tree. The tree with the bottles, the faraway tree that Tabitha crawled into to get to the lighthouse. Jade wants to go to the tree right away to investigate before, you know, a swarm of people hear that that's how Tabitha escaped, and they line up to go into that tree. Jim also reveals to Jade, yeah, the bottles that were hanging on the tree, inside were little sheets of paper with numbers on them. Jade's just like, you didn't think that was important to mention? Yep, Jade makes a good point. Anything is important to mention, no matter how ridiculous or stupid it sounds, or unbelievable. Victor hears from Donna that his father is here, but Victor doesn't want to see his father, so he runs off. Seems like a lazy excuse for the writers to delay the reunion until the end of the episode, which is exactly what they did. Yeah, Victor went back to Colony House to get stuff from his room, but then never mind. Donna said, my dad's here? Nah, let's leave. I don't want to see him. You know, at first it made me think, was he a bad father? Was he an abusive father? Maybe that's why you don't want to see him? No, Victor just doesn't want to see his dad. Because from what I see, Henry's a pretty nice guy. He's a pretty sweet guy. He would be bitter after decades of not knowing what happened to his family. And then a woman shows up with his missing son's lunchbox. Yeah, you can't blame the guy for pointing a gun at her and basically forcing her to tell her what happened to his son. But that stuff aside, you know, Henry's a pretty nice guy. He's a pretty chill guy. Anyway, so the big moment, the big rage-inducing moment of this episode, the town meeting. Everyone meets up at the diner and they discuss what happened with Tabitha. The fact that she not only got to leave, but then she came back. And this douchebag Dale that we've been seeing for these past 2 seasons, he's more of a background character, this douchebag just doesn't know his place. So Boyd is there trying to explain to everyone, but then he's just like, where's Tabitha? She should be here explaining this herself. It's like, shut the hell up, man. Alright, so Tabitha shows up finally, and she discusses with everyone there what happened. Off screen, for the most part. This show loves doing that, by the way. The show loves any sort of important discussion to take place off screen. And then we cut back to the character's reaction and discussion afterwards. And this time, and I mean that really, really much, this time, it hurt the show more than ever. Or hurt the episode. Because without knowing exactly what Tabitha said, that kind of screws things up really badly. Because, rightfully so, understandably so, everyone is frustrated and wants answers. So people are asking, how did you escape? How did you leave this place? Tabitha basically tells them that there are trees outside in the forest that aren't like normal trees. They're hollow in the middle. You go into them and they teleport you somewhere. Blah, blah, blah. All the stuff she said happened off screen, so we don't know what she said. Regardless, she told them that she made it out. And then people just ask her, did you tell anyone? Maybe someone outside could have helped us. The fuck you mean anyone outside could have helped you? What? What do you mean anyone outside could have helped you? This is the exact same thing I said with that tower at the end of season 1. Had the tower worked, you broadcast a signal outside, you tell someone you're alive. Great. What could they possibly do to help you? So had Tabitha left? Had Tabitha told anyone outside, how on earth could they have possibly helped? Jim actually makes a very good point. Had you been able to escape, what would you have done differently? I think me personally, what I would have done, so I just woke up back in the real world, back in civilization, no money, no ID, no phone, no anything. Just the clothes that are on me. What I would have done is I would have gone to the nearest police department, anywhere, any law enforcement, report that I am someone missing. Well, at least that's the first thing I'll do, besides, like, find something to eat. But I have no money, so out of luck for me. But the problem with that is, people were saying, like, Tabitha made the argument, had I told anyone, I would have just sounded crazy. But then I think Fatima was saying, like, alright, but what if someone did believe you? It's like, alright, so what? Someone believes her, what the hell then? What could anyone possibly do had they believed her? And thankfully enough, there were 2 people in that diner to back up Tabitha. There was Frank. Wait, no, not Frank. His name's not Frank. There was Henry, Victor's father, as well as the new person in town, the cop. She's hot, by the way. Anyways, what the hell was her name again? It started with an A. I'm thinking it's Acolyte, but it's not Acolyte. Acosta, that's it. Yeah, she's hot. Anyways. So yeah, they backed her up. When Tabitha was saying, had I explained to anyone, they would have just thought I was crazy. Victor's father was like, yeah, I can vouch. When she told me about all this stuff, I thought she was just insane. And then Acosta, the cop, was just like, she's right. When she told me about all this stuff in the ambulance, I just thought she was unhinged, not mentally stable. So what the hell are you people saying? You morons. You're telling her, why didn't you call for help? What possible help could there have been? And it's like, why didn't you tell anyone? Maybe someone would have believed you. First of all, no one would have believed her. And second, even if they did, then what? Right? Then what? People were right to make the argument that eventually she got someone to believe her, like with Victor's father. But Victor's father is just like, well, my circumstance is a little different than the average person's. You know? Tabitha had this man's son's lunchbox and said a whole bunch of things that coincidentally, this man's wife said decades ago that he miraculously remembers vividly for all those decades. Stupid people. Anyways, they hear the fact that Tabitha went through a tree, teleported to a lighthouse, and then she got out. This is where they really should not have had this discussion off screen, because who knows how in detail how in detail she went. Because if she went completely fully in detail, these people missed half the story. They heard it and they did not care. Let's break down Tabitha's story on how she escaped. Right? How she got out. She went through a faraway tree, teleported to a lighthouse, went to the top of the lighthouse, and got pushed out by the boy in white. So I don't know how in detail Tabitha said this. Maybe she thought, okay, no one's gonna believe that a little boy in white pushed me out. So maybe Tabitha just told them, I teleported to the lighthouse and then I just teleported out. Because had she told the full detail, all of it, people were beginning to get jumpy. They were ready to spring out, be like, alright, find this tree, teleport to the lighthouse, and then we're all free. We all get to go home. If Tabitha told them all about the boy in white, then none of them got it. None of them heard it. None of them realized if we teleport to the lighthouse, we need to be pushed out by a boy in white. And then we're set free. Because everyone is just thinking, we just find that lighthouse and we're home free. We get to go home. You missed half the story. Had Tabitha told it all in detail. And you know what? Here's another thing that really is convenient for the plot. Maybe Tabitha really thought a boy in white would be too much. Nobody would believe her. My, it's awfully convenient that the only two other people who know about the boy in white's existence, outside of Ethan, being Sarah and Victor, were not there to back her up if she said it. So let's think about this real quick. If Tabitha said, a little boy in white pushed me out, everyone's like, boy in white? What are you talking about? There's no boy in white out there. Come on now. No. I can't. I swear to you. Where's your proof? I have no proof. Had Sarah and Victor been there, they could have vouched like, oh yeah, the boy in white. Yeah, we've seen him before. Yeah, he's real. But they were not. So I don't know how in detail Tabitha told everyone. And that's... Anyways, everyone's reckless. Everyone instantly wants to find this magical tree and get home. Especially this Dale person. He is so impatient. He just wants out. Understandably, but you have to be rational, you know? It's life and death. Now, I will give the people a pass, you know, because no one was there when Victor told Ethan, once you step into one of these teleporting trees, you don't know where you'll end up. You could end up somewhere close or somewhere far. You don't know where you will end up. Boyd even brought up this argument, like when he went through the tree, he teleported into an underground chimney and then was in a dungeon for season 2. But nobody cared. Everyone's just like, yes, teleport, lighthouse, home. Let's do it. It's all the steps we need. So people don't know that Victor informed certain individuals that stepping into one of these faraway trees, you don't know where you'll end up. Somewhere close, somewhere far. It's just very plot convenient that Tabitha, when she did it, she ended up at that lighthouse. Because of course the hell she did. Other things happened. Small things that don't really matter too much. Like Julie smoking pot with Elgin. Cool. Sure. Jade and Tabitha were pulling down the bottles and looking at the numbers. It's almost like each bottle with a little paper inside has 4 numbers in it, and all of it's different. I don't know. Maybe one of those 4-digit codes is the passkey to... is the password to the padlock that's holding the children hostage, locking them up in that lighthouse. I don't know. Well, Dale, being the dumbass that he is, he shows up and will not listen. He steps right into the faraway tree and then, well, really fucks him over. Because he teleports. So, the way he teleports, right? I thought he was going to teleport like high in the sky and then fall down to his death. Because that's what I thought. When people were screaming that something happened, Boyd goes to take a look. We heard him choking and gasping for air. That's what I thought. I thought he fell from a great height, got impaled, and is dying painfully. No, even worse. Even worse than that. He was teleported into a wall. His body was fused together with the concrete, or, you know, the wall of the empty swimming pool. So his entire body is destroyed and he is slowly dying very painfully. You can't really dig him out. His body is infused with the stone on the wall. Boyd pulls out his gun and almost mercy kills him, but he dies on his own. I personally still would have shot him, just to be sure that he's put out of his misery. I mean, for God's sake, what else are you going to use a bullet for, right? They have no effect on the monsters, and you're clearly not using the bullets to hunt for food. Every now and then you'll get someone who does something stupid and you need a gun pulled on them, but for the most part, what are you going to do with the bullets? Boyd finally just lets out all his pent-up anger. It's just like, you see this? Who's next? Who wants to try the teleporting tree next? I'm trying to keep you all alive. And I can't do that if you don't let me help you. Dumbasses in the place. I personally would have stuck with Boyd because, you know, once again, life and death. If you're reckless, you die. Now, this outburst by Boyd makes sense. The one earlier in the episode does not. Because Officer Acosta goes to the sheriff's office and talks to Boyd. Boyd unnecessarily just lashes out at her, being like, you think we're buddies now? You killed someone. It's like, try not to kill anyone again. Like, damn, that was heartless of you, Boyd. I don't know, I didn't like that scene. It felt very out of character for him. Even though he was frustrated, put under a lot of stress and pressure, and he lashed out, it still felt out of character. This is Boyd Stevens we're talking about. This character is understanding when it comes to accidents, understanding to what people do. He should understand more than anyone that this officer being put in this hell nightmare, firing bullets at monsters coming to kill her, and then one of the bullets accidentally hit and killed someone. Boyd should know more than anyone that was an accident and to go lightly on her. Whatever. I didn't like that scene. It felt very out of character for Boyd. There was a scene where Jade and Tabitha were talking about the symbol that he saw, Jade also reveals that he saw the two girls, the kids that Tabitha's been seeing, in the tunnels. He finally learns the origin, I guess, of the symbol that he's been seeing. In the cave, it's a roof. There's a little hole in the ceiling, and the lines making up the symbol are roots. But then, didn't that disappear at the end of Season 2 when he looked up and saw it? I don't know. Oh yeah, beginning of the episode, Randall's alive, and he is furious at Boyd for leaving him. He's right to be mad, but if you look at the overall context, can't really be too mad. Well, Randall being Randall, he's gonna hold a grudge for a while, so get ready for that. And finally, the big thing that happened in this episode, Victor finally reunited with his father. Now I have to say, excellent acting in this moment, excellent music. Not gonna lie, I did tear up just because it hit that hard, knowing that these characters haven't reunited in decades. A poor man who lost his family is finally reuniting with his grown-up son. And a son lost and alone in a living nightmare finally has his father back after decades. You know, it's tear-jerking. And the line Victor said just hits that much harder. I didn't know how to get home. You know, if I don't know how young Victor was when he got trapped in this place. Let's say 10 years old, and let's say like 30 years have passed. Man, I don't know if I would remember my father's face if that happened to me. If I was 10 and I didn't see him again until I was 40, I don't know if I would be able to remember my father's face, especially without a picture reference. And, Donna seeing Dale dead. Well, Donna's almost at her breaking point. Well, this Dale character was so annoying, you're glad he's dead. Unlike the last Dale we saw die. All the way back in Season 2, where he was actually a likable character. Oh yeah, Kenny reveals to Boyd that there really is something else out there, something worse. Because every time he's out there at the cabins, there's something big, walking around them. Just tapping on the walls. I can't wait to see some sort of big CGI monster circle around them. Then again, with this show's budget, probably not. Could it possibly be the thing, whatever it was, that dragged Boyd and Sarah's tent? But yeah, people in the town meeting were just like, you wasted your opportunity when you got out. You should have called for help. It's like, stupid. What kind of help did you expect? It's not like the police department is gonna roll up, you know, and save you guys. Really, no one can help you. So even if Tabitha convinced someone to help, it's not a whole lot that anyone can do. Unless, what, she ties a rope to herself trying to find this place again? The longest rope ever? You follow the rope back to real life, assuming the rope didn't get cut off? Man, people were hating on Tabitha for no good reason. Stupid ideas like, you should have called for help or you should have told someone about this place. When she had literal people present to back her up. Henry and the cop, Acosta. Now, that's one thing to say that, you know, she tried, right? She really did try. And people were hating on her. She did try to convince someone that this place existed. It's like, you should have convinced someone else. Like who, a cop? What was that gonna do? You know what I kind of wonder? Can anyone end up at this place by just walking? Like, let's say hypothetically, the Matthews family escapes, but they have now seen that Tabitha has returned. So there's always a possibility that they can come back. They're like, alright, let's never leave the house again unless for essentials like food. We don't drive anywhere anymore, we walk there. So if they walk from their house to the grocery store, can they still end up here by an enormous stroke of bad luck? Oh, I just looked it up. Ironheart releases June 24th. Squid Game, June 27th. Great, I really will have Squid Game to wash down this trash. Okay. Give me just a second, I'll be right back. Couple more minutes and then I'm done for tonight. Dialga is really taking its time. You know? Get it? You know, right now I'm rewatching Dilzan's Presidents Play Pokemon Emerald series. He posted the entire 12-hour long video, and it's been like a year since I've seen these. So I'm rewatching them. Hilarious stuff. I love this kind of content. It's so funny. So anyways, before I end, so yeah, my friend, I was discussing with him this From episode. And I'm just, yeah, I told him everything they said. And I also said, like, man, Dale being in the wall, Shark Girl and Lava Boy ass type of CGI. It was pretty hilarious on how bad it was. But I'll give them a pass. Daytime CGI as well as this show's budget. They did the best they could. Which, for the best they could, it's pretty good. But if you take a step back and look at the grand picture, it's like, it's pretty funny on how bad it looks. So my friend did also be like, what if I said Victor's mom is alive? And then I replied, you already said that. And thanks to you saying that, I'm starting to think the kimono lady that Elgin is seeing. So I also told him, I can confidently say that From is nothing like The Walking Dead. Remember when people told me if this show was similar to The Walking Dead, so I should watch it? Well, I am almost 3 seasons in, and I can confidently say this show and Walking Dead are nothing alike whatsoever. My friend said, bro, you didn't even get to the good part yet. I'm just like, really? Telling me I didn't get to the good part. You telling me I didn't get to the good part. When you quit Arrow before season 4, knowing after everything that happened after. When you quit Walking Dead after season 2, among the other things that you watched from my suggestion and quit, or just never started, you're telling me that I never got to the good part. I haven't gotten to the good part yet, to just wait. Remember what I said before, how nobody listens to me? Nobody listens to me when I suggest content to watch. I tell them you should watch the Arrowverse. Despite it getting rather bad at the end, the start was pretty good. You know, I tell them it's like a multi-show connected storyline, like a multi-show connected universe. They look at me like, you fucking crazy. I'm not watching that shit. But then I get suggested several times, watch From. Watch One Piece from beginning to end. Watch other shows. Your shows that you suggest and recommend? Nah, fuck that. Fuck you. You watch our show, but we don't watch yours. That's the deal. That's my life, you know? With how many shows I watch, yes, I want to share the cool and good stuff I watch, but nobody ever gives it a shot. But then when someone recommends something that they like to me, I check it out. Regardless of my criticisms or not. I still watch it, don't I? I didn't quit From after hearing one season might be bad. Have you watched anything that I recommended? Even if I tell you what I would recommend, would you even listen? I mean, you've already seen the Arrowverse. You're not, let's face it, you're not going to start The Walking Dead. I could recommend to you Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, you already watch Marvel. However, you're not going to listen to the way I recommend, because nobody does. You want to know how I recommend watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? The way you watch is too time consuming. Well, do you want the experience or do you just want something to binge? Because, let's face it, alright? Think about this. When are you ever going to rewatch a show like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? You're probably just going to watch it once and never watch it again. So if you're going to watch it only the one time, why not truly get the full experience and understand everything by watching the movies or even just watching clips from the movies to understand the context that the show is referencing? You watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before, but did you watch all of it? Literally, episode 1. Episode 1 deals with the first Avengers film and Extremis from Iron Man 3. So my suggestion, if not rewatch both those films, rewatch key clips that happen in the movie. But nobody's going to listen to that. And like I said, what are the chances you're ever going to rewatch the show and actually go back to rewatch the movies with it to understand it, right? So if you're going to watch it for the first and probably only time, why not just understand everything by getting some context? Nobody mentions that in Season 5, they flat out reference Infinity War twice. You know, referencing aliens in New York on the news. And not to mention, they flat out just name drop Thanos in Season 5. If you had no idea about the movies, be like, who the hell is Thanos? Like, if you knew nothing about Marvel. Well, nobody ever listens to me. Even if I recommend one-off shows that you don't need to watch anything else to get context for. Shows like Doom Patrol. Yeah, nobody's still gonna watch that. Nobody's gonna listen to me. Shows like... I could recommend Peacemaker, but Peacemaker directly connects to The Suicide Squad. So why not watch that first? People never listen to me. Anyways. I'll do one more reset, then I'll call it. It's getting late. You know what? Before I leave, let me just point out one thing. I was told, I was warned, I was recommended. Before I watched The Boys Season 4, I watched Gen V. Oh, someone recommend me doing it, then it's fine. But when I recommend someone else does it, oh hell nah. You suck. Anyways, this will be the last one, and then I'll call it for today. I have not watched Gen V. Alright, guess the discussion's continuing. Did you hear Homelander shows up, though? No, I did not. I don't know, that still seems kind of unfair to me. I recommend others that they watch multiple great content that connects because it's cool. Everyone just flips me off. But then when I get told, be sure, absolutely make sure, like your life depends on it, watch Gen V before watching The Boys Season 4. Oh, well, when that happens, to me, it's fine. But when I tell others to do it, it's like, no, screw you. I'm not doing what you say. Okay, that's it. I'm done for today. Alright. I'm gonna call it here. Bye.